But we do thank her because organizing, rehearsing, teaching college singers from many prominent universities to come to a church and work with some of the Southeast's most notable retired ministers from large churches could have been a recipe for disaster. I mean, those ministers were retiring, many were bishops. They had pastored places where they'd been pampered, myself included. And they're teaching college students who are going to try to learn how to be divas and great singers and be pampered themselves. And it was a recipe that was held together by the great Shirl's wisdom, commitment, and lasting through the ages. And she taught old people how to learn how to get along with college-age students. And she taught college-age students, many of whom would come over from the farmhouse and see a minister in here who had a stroke and partly paralyzed and start laughing at him, how to relate to older people. And you're the benefit of more than just your music lessons. You've learned how to come into a place and sing and do more than sing, give a voice to the soul that's inside of you. And she was a great teacher for that. Of course, her garage was this church's music library. Her car was the boardroom where many things were planned. And I want to sort of tell you one thing that this church did this morning. And our church created a task force to recommend to the executive committee of the church board, with the approval of the executive committee, a proper way to honor Shirl Blackwell. And here is what we did this morning. After the task force report, I happily convey to you the following: a resolution on appreciation on behalf of Blowing Rock Methodist Church in memory of Shirley Blackwell. Whereas Shirley Blackwell graced the worship services of Blowing Rock Methodist Church with her talent, leadership, and warm sense of humor for over 50 years. Whereas her mentoring of young singers created numerous skilled and effective vocalists who have benefited from her guidance in their future careers. And whereas her life was a testimony to the love of Jesus Christ, evidenced by effective discipleship. Now, therefore, the Executive Committee of the Official Board, acting on behalf of the entire congregation, its staff and clergy, hereby designates and names in perpetuity the church's choir as the Shirley Blackwell Memorial Choir. It took a long time for this church to get a music legacy. These are my words now, not the resolution. 55 years is a long time indeed. But the most important question in life is not how long does it take you to get something, but how long will it last? And with that in mind, we have created a memorial choir that will always consist of college students in the tradition of the farmhouse singers, that the congregation of the Methodist Church and the farmhouse alums, if so inclined, will now have a vehicle which they may continue her legacy by contributing to future upgrades of the choir and special guests, and that the voice students who sing here will not only be a part of a named and memorial choir, but will be able to have that on their resumes, and it will be a great help. Because when you sing in a named choir, or when you get a named scholarship from a university, that is recognized by businesses far and wide, that you were part of something that is not just cum laude, that is not just sang at the Methodist Church in the summer, but that you were chosen to be a part of a legacy choir. And we thought that that would be the best way that we could honor her. She started with 4 in it. She bumped it up to 5. We bumped it up to 6. I don't know what we'll bump it up to. But don't take for granted, as I told our students this morning, that everyone appreciates a college student group. Because there are people in the church who have good voices, but they're maybe a little beyond the range. And I went to 3 at cantata time at Christmas, and they had all of these wonderful college students from High Point University that were in the music program that were there, but they don't get the solos because it would offend somebody. This will always be a college choir in her honor, where students may come from, and they right now they all come from Appalachian State, but it's not inconceivable that we wouldn't have some come from other places. In fact, we'll have one coming from Boston Conservatory that's an alum, and hopefully you'll also come back as the second member of that Boston Conservatory alum in the future. So I hope that pleases the family. I can't think of anything more that would please her to have the choir that sings here every Sunday, 18 Sundays in the summer, be the Shirl Blackwell Memorial Choir, supported by the church and supported by anyone that wants to help it grow in the future as a legacy to her and what she created. So, thank you for letting us do that. And what we're going to do now is we're going to have an invitation. I think there are 5 or 6 of you that wanted to come up and make some remembrances of Shirley. And I will turn the microphone over to you at this time, and following that, we'll have the choral offering from the Mass Choir here. So those of you who are coming up, please come. Thank you.
I know I'm coming later.
You're coming later.
Speaking on behalf of somebody. And I'll start because he was probably her oldest friend here. On behalf of Ernie Murphy, who sang at Rumpel Memorial at Mom and Dad's wedding on July 10th in 1955. He's very sorry he could not be here, but he sent this to me and asked me to read it. I'm so sorry I cannot be with you all today. My first visit to Blowing Rock was June 1955. Shirl and I were duet partners at Stetson. I graduated a year before Shirl and had just completed my master's at Eastman. Shirl had just graduated from Stetson, and she and AJ were getting married and asked me to come sing at their wedding. My first glimpse of the farmhouse and Blowing Rock. It was a spectacular wedding. I fell in love with the farmhouse, Mama and Daddy Blackwell, and Blowing Rock. Anyway, the person playing piano at the farmhouse suddenly left. My aside, imagine that. EJ and Shirl were on their honeymoon. I got a call asking me if I could come back and play for the summer. I was free because my draft board had deferred me till September. So that's how I came to the farmhouse. It was a great summer. Shirl and I had fun singing all of our old duets. New experience for me, singing and playing, but we did it. Also, Daddy talked me into being the night watchman to guard the ice cream. But that's another story. So, I've been a part of Shirl's life a long time. I don't think I missed a summer spending at least a week with them, watched their family grow. Like Stephen Sondheim said, good times and bum times, I've seen them all, and my dear, I'm still here. Think about the opportunity and experience, not to mention a job that paid, that Shirl gave to so many of you. It speaks for itself. Part of being the farmhouse family will never be forgotten. The old building may be gone, but its spirits and our memories of what it meant to all of us remain. Right now, in my mind, Shirl and I are singing a duet that EJ insisted we sing all the time, Only a Rose, from Vagabond King. Only a rose I give to you. Only a song dying away. Only a smile to keep in memory until we meet another day. Only a rose to whisper, blushing as roses do. I'll bring along a smile, a song for anyone. Only a rose for you.
Well, I'm the next to oldest person who worked at the farmhouse. And all of the old people said, "No, well, you're the old one. Why don't you represent us?" And so I started working at the farmhouse the year after Shirl and EJ were married, I believe, and the year Jeb was born. So, you know, I'm not exactly a spring chicken. I started working when I was 2. But I think, you know, to put it in perspective, Elizabeth has been Queen of England for 60 years, and I started the 3rd year of her reign. Anyway, I think all of us who work there owe a great debt to the Blackwells for providing a place to work in this lovely village that we all learned to love. And we have the added joy of being able to make music every day of the summer, whether we wanted to or not. I retired from the staff of the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra a dozen years ago, and since then have been able to come back to Blowing Rock with more frequency. And I always loved my visits with Shirl and EJ in this place that they loved so much and shared with so many of us. And then after Shirl was widowed, I came back even more frequently and stayed longer. And particularly the summer that Shirl broke both wrists and needed some extra help. And she and I always had so much fun together. We really laughed like kids. Like, if you'd heard us, you would have thought you were at a teenage slumber party rather than a couple of old girls hooping it up. But we did have fun. And she was so proud of and loved Elisha, Jeb, and Cynthia, and all of her handsome grandsons. She just loved talking about them. And so I have such pleasant memories of her. And I really do miss her so much. But aren't we all blessed to have had her in our lives? Thank you. I'll keep talking.